everybody. Welcome back to C.I.K Gaming. You have to forgive my voice because I'm pretty... This is just how I sound. I got really sick over the last couple days. And today is my anniversary. And in the process of it being my anniversary, it took me down a really cool mental thought process, thinking about my life before and after my wife. Everything that we've been through, etc., etc., etc. Why our marriage is like so good, works so well. Why we're so happy now and why our family is so cool. And so amazing that everybody seems to want a piece of it. Random people try to plug themselves in. Women try to get it with me. Some people try to get access to the children. It's just weird. It's a whole process. Basically, everybody wants a piece of this happiness that we've created for ourselves with no help. I mean, outside of God, of course. When I say stuff like that, I kind of always imply that no earthly help, right? Except for what God chose to give us. And I wanted to talk about real quick, like the system, kind of for context in a way. I'm not the kind of guy that grew up without girlfriends, let me just put it that way. I'm the kind of man that has always been at the center of this female attention front. And I'm not entirely sure what aspect of my personality or mechanics, my character traits, whatever, has done that. But I think it has something to do mainly with the fact that my mom was killed when I was very young. She was murdered. So it left a really, really big hole in my heart for women. And the problem with that, maybe not the problem, it was kind of a problem, but the main mechanic there is that there is a bigger than should be hole in my heart for women. Kind of I missed out on that love, so now I need it from women kind of thing. And the problem with that is it kind of put me front and center into these really not good relationships, not longevity, not truth-based, not women that, matched or lined up with my character traits whatsoever. But I just possessed the traits that they wanted. Combination of looks, confident, things like that. I know what I'm doing when it comes to all things women. So it's not hard for me to carry my weight, so to speak, in everything that is involved in a relationship. And this happened for a very long time. Dated the hottest girl in school. We were together for about 6 years. And then that's when I was first introduced to the system of hypergamy that exists. Left me for a car salesman at a job that I got her. That was a pretty low blow. That relationship had, for the first time, let me experience kind of like a double whammy. No girlfriend. Her two younger brothers, who I'd been raising for pretty much full custody for about 4 years, were gone. So it was kind of like losing children. Took the car, took the apartment, left me homeless. Totally fine. Totally fine, actually. Because in that homeless stage, in dealing with this, that's when I found MMA. And that was the catalyst for me kind of leaving that kind of life behind and diving full-time into combat. That was very important for my development as a person. Because I basically completely turned into the man that would eventually be standing face-to-face with my wife. And in the process of standing face-to-face with my wife as a real man, she stood no chance.
Are you recording?
That's the only reason I come outside and get in the car.
I thought you were smoking.
No, I'm recording. I love you.
Do you have to start over?
No. But I do need you to go away. You're so cool. Thank you, Kylie. I love you. That was my daughter's. She didn't know I was recording. But, and she just fell on the porch. It looks like she just... Oh, my goodness. Children are awesome. But, sorry. Reset. So the experiences that I went through as an MMA fighter were a bit different. Not only because I was truly solo in this, When I mean solo, what I mean is I didn't have access to a lot of friends. I had fighter friends. Guys I was training with that were cool, but that was short-lived. But it's mainly just the experiences of doing something completely different. And I mean completely different from the normal life that I'd lived before. And unlike organized team sports where my effort was attached to a group, ultimately limited, in MMA, my efforts put on myself were without limits. The potential was quite literally limitless. I could always be faster, stronger, learn better, think more deeply, etc. And in this stage is where I finally started to have what I would consider to be the true success with women, which is where basically my first 2 little relationships didn't work because I was too needy or whatever. I looked too deeply, they didn't look deeply enough. They saw what they liked on the outside, and that was good for them. It's what most people do. But after the second kind of breakup that was weird and strange, I hit the drawing board when it came to women. And I hit the drawing board because I was like, okay, well, I'm not an insane person. If something doesn't work out, I will definitely try to figure out why. Because there's no point in repeating the same mistakes multiple times. So in the process of me trying really hard to understand what was happening in my own life, I just decided the best course of action would be to learn more about women. The process for learning more about women is also pretty fun, actually. You really just plug yourself into the social scene with as many women as you can. Have fun, go to parties, go on dates. Just watch and observe everything they do and how they live. And after a few months of that, I was pretty burnt out already because ultimately I was very disappointed. The number of women who were married or in relationships that tried to have sex with me was pretty high. High enough for me to actually change my viewpoint on women completely. In kind of a big way. Because what I realized is that women are not what I thought they were. The Disney princess fairy tale version of women did not exist. And if it did exist, it only existed within the women who were getting pounded within an inch of their life. And it only existed with it only existed with that man who was pounding them within an inch of their life. That was it. Everybody else was just temporary. Women were with them for their money, didn't want to break up with them because they didn't want to be alone. And I realized that maybe dating and girls was not what I needed, so I stopped dating. At the peak of my everything that it means to be a man, I just stopped dating. I stopped going on dates. I stopped texting. I stopped looking for girls. I started rejecting girls openly, telling them I was not interested. And of course, too, as the head instructor or the number 2 instructor at an MMA gym, that is a pretty big, I had a lot of vagina thrown at me. And also have to be extremely professional because I'm teaching women how to throw triangle chokes and grappling techniques and stuff. So the problem with that is, of course, as you can imagine, leadership position, alpha dominant, extreme physically good shape, respect from everybody, and multiple women chasing you at pretty much any given time. It was very easy for women to see that and just run at me, make fools of themselves trying to get into my pants, which kind of just further reinforced my decision that women are not, in my opinion, generally speaking, worth the time of day. Well, fast forward, and then I meet this girl. She comes in one day, just a normal day. My coach introduces me and says, I want you to take her through how to punch, get her set up on the basics. I'm like, sure. Which is what he did for people that he viewed as having no potential as an actual martial artist, as in terms of like fighting and the reputation of the gym, et cetera, et cetera. And in the process of doing that, I am face to face with this drop-dead beautiful black woman, warming up on the bag with no knowledge whatsoever of how to throw proper punches. And I walk up behind her and I just look and I see her. She's wearing a Hooters shirt and really tight blue, not really sweatpants, but kind of like sweatpants. A very nice butt. That's the first thing I noticed. And the reason I noticed it at the beginning was because I do that on purpose, because you have to notice, especially if you're trying not to look at women, you need to know what to not look at. So you see the threat, so to speak, analyze it, study it. Okay, she has a fantastic butt. Now, that's out of the way. Let's go back to not looking at her butt. And in the process of her looking at me, or hitting the bag, Coach introduced us. She turns around and she looks down at my feet for some reason. And she just, her hands drop to her sides, and she just does this very slow up gaze. And by the time she gets all the way to my face, her expression is like, I can't explain it. It's just like her breath has been taken away, I guess. And I introduced myself, and she didn't answer me at first. I was like, "What's your name?" She told me. I was like, "Okay, sweet. And I was like, "Come on, I'll get you started on punching." And later I know that she basically said she fell in love with my feet before she even saw my face, which is weird, but not really, because I really like my feet are unique. And so we started this very, very awkward. Initially, I thought she was a little bit slow in the head, because I thought she was there to train, and the delay between my instructions and her actual doing it was so bad that I thought maybe she has some kind of learning disability. And that was just like the initial impressions. So I was like super gentle with her and super patient and super understanding. And it wasn't a learning disability. She was just like totally infatuated with me, as a lot of women were at the time. This process continued for a few days. And then we go to day 3. And the way that the structure of the class was pretty cool. What we would always do is, after class, there would be this, everybody would be tired and sweaty. Usually what we would do is sit in kind of like a circle and just talk, because, MMA is kind of a risky, dangerous thing. So it's really important for the group of people training, I think, to have some kind of knowledge of one another, some kind of respect, because that really prevents injuries and like attitudes and stuff from going out of control. And the whole time we're sitting there talking, she's sitting directly in front of me, off to my left. Most of the group is to my right. She's to the left. She's sitting there cross-legged, shoulders like just focused directly on me, as if I'm the only person in the room. And I would ask questions, and we were all talking. And this conversation continued for a long time, and I didn't really notice this at first until the third day. And then the conversation shifted to the other side of the room, and other people were talking, and I turned to look, but she never changed. Her gaze just stayed locked on me like a lion about to eat something. And that's when I realized what was happening with her, and I said, okay, shit. So I sat there the whole time, and one by one, people get up and leave. We all say goodnight, and pretty soon it's just me and her in the circle on the mat, in the sweaty, nasty training room. And I'm like, "Hey, do you want to go to..." I knew she was there. Like you're still wanting to talk. Like, she didn't care that it was, an hour and a half after the class was over. She just wanted to... She just sit there and stared at me the whole time. Didn't say much. Asked a few questions, but didn't really say anything. And I was like, "Hey, do you want to go to Waffle House? I'm starving. Let's go get something to eat." And she looked so scared when I asked this that she didn't know what to say. And so we go to Waffle House. Now, a quick context to this is Waffle House had become, it was one of the cheapest places for me to eat with the limited budget that I had as a fighter. And what I would do is, when girls in the gym were being too friendly or too forward, or trying to build some kind of, trying to be sexual, I didn't want to do anything unprofessional in the building or anything that could stir up drama. So what I would do is I would take women to Waffle House, not to seduce them or not to seal the deal, but to actually tell them, literally, I'm not interested in it. All I do is train. All I do is fight. I don't want a girlfriend. I'm not looking to hook up, etc., etc. So my future wife, I sat down at Waffle House, and this is about the 6th or 7th time I've had to do this with girls. And I just sit her down, we go in, and I tell her, I was like, hey, look, I'll pay for your food, but I'm not interested in dating, and if you're just trying to have sex with me, then I'm not really about that life right now. Now, usually what that phrase would do is most women, what they say is some shit like, oh, well, my husband doesn't have to know. I'll pay you. I don't want a relationship. I just want sex. So on and so forth, so on and so forth. Which just, has basically, up to this point, perpetually just reinforced my decision that women are not really what I'm looking for. At least not, like, I can't find the woman with the unique traits that I look for in a girl. So I'll just stop dating. And my wife, just without skipping a beat, no rational thought, just goes, me neither. I haven't had sex in 3 years. And I was like, oh, interesting. Very interesting. Go on. And it turned into a wonderful conversation about God and life and drama and stress. Dreams and hopes and ambitions, and the vibe was very different with her than with all the other women who were literally just trying to get laid. So we had, it wasn't just an in the conversation kind of night. We stood there, we hung out for about an hour at Waffle House just talking and eating. I don't know how long it was nice. And that was when the first kind of creeping sensation of, she might be pretty cool. Maybe, no, I can't. Maybe, no, I can't. And it was about, this little system continued for a few days. And then one day we were training, and it was time to grapple. And she wanted to grapple, just like with me, she was like, come on, let's grapple. I was like, okay. This woman, through raw talent that she didn't know she had, is one of 3 people in the gym ever to officially tap me out. And I don't mean that as a joke. I mean that as a legitimate official. If I had been in an MMA fight, she would have broken my arm. She threw me in a Kimura, that I had to break free of, do a front flip to get out of, only for her to rotate with me and throw me into an armbar. Beautiful, clean armbar. Like super clean. That left my brother absolutely speechless as he was watching, because me and him were training for a Naga tournament, a grappling tournament. He didn't know what to think. And after I flipped through the air and was utterly dominated by, like, the hand of God, basically, and once I got up, that was the moment where I, like, really kind of fell in love in a weird way. Doesn't make any sense, but that was it. I was like, she's the one. So after that, I pursued a little bit more. We started going to the park. We started hanging out. Everything else happened very fast. I think 2 weeks later, we moved in together. A couple months after that, we were pregnant. A couple months after that, we were married. All very fast. And in the process of all that, I never once questioned, did I make the right choice? My decision to give up the MMA career in place of starting a family was never questioned. I probably could have done both, but looking back on hindsight, I wouldn't have been able to do both. The trauma that my wife had went through required me to be basically a full-time therapist. Made it extremely hard to be ambitious and to push and to pursue other things as a man. Because once you have a wife and you make that vow to God, nothing else matters. Fuck the world, man. Fuck your job. Fuck all that. If you don't have a wife to go home to, and a family gets broken apart, like, what's the point, So that was a fight that I chose to stay in, maintain as long as I could. Never give up on it. was very hard in the beginning. Very, very hard. Culture differences between the two of us. A lot of past trauma. A lot of stuff coming out later that I didn't know about initially, which is fine. But a lot of talks of separations over the course of the 10 years, and for no real reason. And that's when I realized that women, their nature is different than men. Women's nature is a bit different from men. And if you believe in the Bible, if you believe in Adam and Eve and the creation story, then you can see this with Adam and Eve in the garden. It's pretty simple. We as men are supposed to follow God first. We honor our vows to our wives, of course, but the vow is not made to the wife. The vow is made to God, right? You don't vow to your wife. You vow to God to cherish her. So in that regards, I never really failed too hard. I mean, everybody fails, but I maintained my vows to the best of my ability. But it never seemed to be enough. And I was missing the most important aspect of this. And this is where men fail when it comes to dating and to life and to relationships. It's not understanding women's nature. It's not understanding how they, like the aspect of them that is not spoken. They can't explain it. There's not words for it. I mean, there are, but not from them to us. Like a woman can't tell you this. The aspects of women can be boiled down into about 3 or 4 different things. The first one is that women are extremely insecure. So they must be reaffirmed and reassured almost constantly. Now, how do we do that as a man? 1, what's the insecurity about? Sometimes the insecurity can be about looks. Well, being sexually attracted to your woman is pretty, really the only thing you can do to tell her that she's still beautiful. At least in your eyes, right? The kindness in which you treat her, etc., etc. What about you as a man? What about you? Think about the life that you lived before you met her and after. If you were just working all day and you met and it was cool and it was easy and she liked you and then you got married because that was like the next thing, that's different. Me and my wife, we had a very crazy, amazing dating life into a really, really good marriage that became very traumatic very quickly. Past traumas from her coming up, new traumas from the world and everything trying to destroy us and tear us apart, including family being racist. No help, actual sabotage on the family side. All of that put us in too much stress and too much trauma, but we grew through it. Made it through the other end as this powerhouse married couple that is just still in love. And I realize now that my wife is still is literally my best friend in the weirdest way which I don't think that's natural. But I don't make friends very easily. I do in a way, but I don't. Social butterfly, so to speak, but it's hard to find people of substance that are on my level in a lot of different ways. My wife is really the first person to except for when I was fighting, to just look at me and be like, you're better in every aspect than I am. I'm going to follow your leadership because I can trust you. My wife's the first person to really do that. It took a long time to get that out of her, but that's the point. We have a beautiful family. We have a beautiful relationship. And today's our anniversary. And our oven went out, so I had to go get Waffle House because that was our first date. That's what we always get on our anniversary is Waffle House. When we go back inside, we're going to finish some videos. And then me and her posting. I got a pretty cute little video that I have to edit together for her to let her know how much I love her. Oh, and I love you, Johnny. I know you're you're my video editor, so enjoy enjoy some of the clips later. Don't listen to this until we get our clips recorded. But you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. This is not intended to be a video really for anybody else but me and my wife. And to give some of you gamer guys some hopes. I was planning on doing videos on women, how to please them in the bedroom, how to draw their attention, things like that later. But I need to wait till my voice heals. I just wanted to do this because it's our anniversary and we need to have an anniversary video. I love you very much, China. You're my best friend and my best buddy. And I'd give up anything for you. Mwah.